Welcome to the Stop Over Drinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving, goal-oriented rebel women come to learn how to live a vibrant and fulfilling life without requiring alcohol to get through it. No labels, no judgments, no saying you'll never drink again. Just real proven methods to help you stop rebelling against yourself with alcohol so you can drink less and do more. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik. Let's dig in. Welcome to episode 218, Difficult Emotions and Moving On. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. I'm so excited to be here. I have a really good podcast for y'all this week. But first, I just want to give a shout out to everybody who has ordered the Alive AF subscription box. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love getting the feedback from you that you're loving the box, the pictures that you're sharing, the emails that I'm getting. I love receiving that. So if you have received a box and you're loving it, please send me a note about it or a picture of it or post it on social media and use the hashtag AliveAFbox. And I'm just really excited about it. It's so fun. All of my little things, my dream has been shot across the country in multiple directions. And it's supporting women to their goals of drinking less with drinks, non-alcoholic drinks, books, journals, candles, beauty products. It's all in there. And it's a physical reminder that you are working on drinking less and ways that you can connect to yourself and connect to your senses and give yourself more pleasure instead of turning to that glass of wine at the end of the day. So I'm super excited about it. And the good news is you can still get one if you haven't registered or signed up for the subscription box. Think about doing that, and we're set up now with the system that it's pretty much on demand and they will ship out same day likely, and you can get your box in a matter of no time. So go over to the link, we're linking that up in the show notes, and get your Alive AF subscription box. Yay! All right. Also, you can join the Alive AF coaching membership, which is our monthly membership where I'm coming in and teaching you workshop style classes and live group coaching calls and support in a private community. We just had our first workshop, which was called Uncovering Your Alcohol Identity and Changing It, and it was amazing. I have never taught this format of this specific class and topic before, and we did it inside the membership, and it was really, really good. People identify their alcohol identity. I gave them tools on how to change that in real time. And now we're going to be supporting them inside the membership while they go out and apply this in their real lives. And people are drinking less and feeling good and feeling proud of themselves. So you should come and join it. The link to do that also is in the show notes in the podcast. But today I want to talk about difficult emotions and moving on. A lot of times I hear that you guys just want to be done with something, right? So maybe there was a difficult relationship in the past, or maybe there was some difficulty in your childhood, or you went through something bad, right? And it keeps coming up for you and you keep reliving those emotions and you've been working on it, and you just, you get kind of annoyed or frustrated when this stuff keeps coming up over and over again, right? So I'm sure you all have this. Just by being a human being at our age, we have stuff that reflect upon and that it causes us more difficult emotions, okay? And what I want to tell you about that is that it probably won't go away. I don't know if anybody has read The Body Keeps a Score, but basically when we have little t trauma or big T trauma, that makes an impression in our bodies and in our minds. And when we think about that or get triggered on something similar to that, we can remember this stuff and have those feelings again. And that's not a problem. There's so many different modalities to help work on that and heal that and make it easier to deal with. But the idea that it will ever go away, I think, is false. And I'm not a trained therapist, and I haven't been doing this for decades, so just take that with a grain of salt. But through my own work and coaching hundreds of women on processing feelings, I do have a fair share of credibility on this topic. And what I can tell you is if you can let go of the expectation that that will go away, or that you'll move on past it and it won't ever come up again, I think it makes it easier when it does come up. And you're like, oh, okay, there it is again. I know what to do, right? But this idea that it's just like, I just want to be done with this. I was actually coaching somebody yesterday, and it was around a difficult divorce, and she was processing some anger. And, she says things like, and I've heard not only from her, but from other people too. It's like, I just want to be done with this. I want to move on. I want to move past this. I don't want this to keep interrupting my life. And when we have those types of thoughts around these difficult types of emotions like anger or shame or resentment, anxiety, like those bigger, heavier, more painful ones, when we think that we should be done with it, or if we think it's annoying that we still are having it, or why do I have to keep looking at this, or why do I have to keep feeling this, we're basically rejecting our own human experience, and we're rejecting ourselves and our full humanness. And that doesn't really feel good, right? When we're like, I want to be done with this, it doesn't give that feeling and that experience any validity, right? You're just like, you're annoyed with yourself that you're still looking at it, right? And that's just not loving. We want to love ourselves unconditionally. And so when you have these emotions that come up and you notice you're judging yourself on it, or you wish that you didn't have that, notice how that feels. Right? When you're like, I really wish I could move on past this. This is frustrating. Whatever you're thinking about it, notice how that feels when you think that, right? It probably feels more frustrating. It probably amplifies the feeling that you're not wanting to experience, right? I want to suggest that instead, if some of those patterns come up and those feelings come up, that you recognize, yeah, that happened and I'm okay right now and nothing has gone wrong. You take a deep breath and you work on processing and allowing those feelings to be with you. And you hold some space for that part of you that went through that, right? So just like you would with a child, hopefully, you want to love that child in their experience that they had. If they're crying or something went wrong, right? You're not hopefully telling your child, you need to move on from this. Why are you so upset? And I have to say I haven't been perfect with that with my own kids too. But in generally speaking, we want to be the people and the parents that would be like, I love you, come here, it's okay. It's okay, right? And that's what you want to do to yourself. You want to hold yourself in that space and just be like, it's okay that you're feeling this right now. It's normal. That happened to you. And you allow that feeling and you just breathe through it and you just give it some light and some space. You don't want to ignore it. You definitely don't want to take action and drink from it. You don't want to tell yourself, I wish I wasn't feeling this way. All of those things are sort of like pushing it away, pushing yourself away, and that feeling is still there. Okay, but when you allow it to be there and you tell yourself, it's all right that I'm feeling this again. Nothing has gone wrong. That was a bad thing that happened to me, and I want to be with this and acknowledge that. Does that make sense? And when you do that, it's so much more gentle, and you will let yourself breathe and process that through, and you will interrupt what happens from the effect of that feelings, right? So a lot of times if we're angry about something that happened in our past and we remember that, or we get triggered around that situation and we start reflecting on it, we get pissed off, and then usually those feelings again will drive our behavior, because that's just how humans operate. Feelings drive actions, okay? We remember something, we get a feeling activated, and then it drives our behavior. But you have a lot of power in that in-between space of the noticing the feeling and the action that you take. If you can become aware and recognize that you're in that emotional experience right now and it's okay, and give yourself a moment there to pause and breathe, you don't have to take action. You don't have to yell. You don't have to throw things. Whatever you do when you're feeling that feeling, you know what you do, right? So a lot of times my clients will drink because they don't want to deal with that. They're pissed off. They're angry. They're remembering something that they don't like. And so that drives similar patterns of behavior because that's what they've done in the past. And this is also important to remember that some of these deeper, more difficult emotions, it takes practice to recognize when they're happening and interrupting those patterns. So if you find yourself drinking, please don't be hard on yourself. Don't judge yourself, right? Figure out why. Identify that feeling that you weren't willing to be with, and practice and come up with some new things that you could do instead of drinking. Drinking is not the only solution to managing some of these harder, difficult, ingrained feelings that we have. Okay? It's not. A lot of people think it is the only thing we can do. And that's just because you've done it so often in times of these more difficult feelings. Your brain wants to say, yeah, just go do that thing again because that's what it knows how to do the best. And so we need to interrupt that cycle and think, what else could I do when I'm feeling this way? What else do I actually need when I'm here with this very difficult feeling? For me, journaling really helps in this time to sort of like get it all out and remember that and give myself 5 or 10 minutes to process that. Closing my eyes, doing some deep breathing, sort of like giving myself a little hug, like wrapping my arms around my shoulders, touching my face. That just connects, like it connects yourself to your body when you touch your body. Okay, so your face, your arms, you can put your hands on your knees, something like that, to remind yourself that you're connecting with yourself and that you're okay in that moment, right? When we drink and we say, I can't handle this, right? And then we go drink, we're rejecting that part of our experience. And that doesn't feel good for us. We actually don't want to do that. I know that doesn't always seem true in the moment when you're like, no, I actually want to drink, Angela. I get it. That's just what your brain is saying to try to help you ease that tension and that pain. But it's not actually what you need and what you want. What you want and what the real you needs is just to be validated, to be seen, to be heard, right? Because usually some of these more difficult emotions, things that happened to you in the past, or, things that you experienced, something like that, we didn't give ourselves that attention when that thing was happening, or the other person involved, or whatever was happening at that time, we didn't pause and process or be validated in that moment. So you have an opportunity again to validate yourself, hold yourself, love yourself when you're having that emotional experience, instead of running and hiding it or sweeping it under the rug or avoiding it or drinking it or numbing it. Does that make sense? So the real part of you, the real humanness of you wants to be seen and heard. We all do, right? We all want to be validated. We all want our feelings to be understood, right? Think about being a kid and like people just your parents maybe didn't understand you, or they would tell you that you're being too emotional, right? That hurts. We don't remember what that's like to be having an emotional experience and then someone is like, get over it, right? That's not actually us now as an adult. We don't want to tell ourselves to get over it. We need to move on. I don't think that some of those deeper, harder pains, those will always be with us. And when we can learn how to be with them and validate them when they come up, they won't have such a big effect in our lives. They won't be driving our behaviors. It won't be such a big deal. We're just like, yep, there it is again. That makes sense. I love you. It's okay. Let me breathe and acknowledge this for a second, and then you move on. So that's what it's like for me now, and some of the more difficult ones. Shame is a big one for me. It just comes up when I do big things. It came up, I shared when I was launching the Alive AF membership and the Alive AF box. Like I started feeling shame before the thing was even available. Like I did something wrong. Like I'm doing something wrong. It just came up and it makes no sense, except that when I look back at my childhood, this is the only thing I can connect it to, is that's what I was told a lot. Like you're doing things wrong. If I try to have a big thing, or if I speak too loud, or I walk too loud, or have too many ideas, or I, say something's not okay, I felt like I was doing something wrong. And so that was a familiar feeling for me. And so I'm just like, okay, there that is again. Let me breathe and process through. I don't think that it's a problem. I know how to be with it. And I drop the expectation that I'm going to ever move on from that. That's just part of who I am. Okay? And you all have that stuff too. Maybe I'll move on from it someday. I don't know. And I don't think any of us can really know that. Right? Everybody has their different human experiences, different things that happen to them in their past. And I think it just helps us when we let go of the expectation that we're going to move on from this and we'll never feel that anger or that shame or that resentment or whatever that big difficult emotion is for you again. And if we just make the new goal to learn how to identify it and process it and not let it interrupt our lives, we just move on. That's how we actually move on. Does that make sense? So I want you to practice this. Next time something big feeling-wise comes up, instead of saying, I wish I didn't feel this way, I wish I could move on from this, I want to invite you to be like, hey, I see you, I hear you, it's okay. And take some deep breaths, allow that feeling to be present in your body, and let yourself be seen with it. Validate that feeling for yourself, and then that will help you move on easier, okay? When we reject those feelings and we say we don't want to feel this way, and then we do something like go drink, we're definitely not moving on. That's not actually helping you heal. That's not helping you feel that emotion less. It's actually making it worse because you're rejecting that part of your human experience. All right, my friends? I love you. I believe in every single one of you. I want to support you, and you should all join a Live AF monthly coaching membership. Okay? We have a live coaching call coming up at the end of the month. You can volunteer and get direct coaching by me. And this is a very low cost, low risk thing to come in and try. I think you should commit to a year of the membership, but you can cancel if it's not right for you or what other reason. But if you like my podcast, you like my master classes, if I've helped you in any way, but you're still not where you want to be, really consider joining the Alive AF monthly coaching membership, where I'm going to help you stop over drinking and start doing things that help you feel more alive. All right, my friends, I love you all. Have a beautiful week. Talk soon.